Welcome everybody, my name is Lyle, Senior Manager of Nursery here at the Missouri Botanical Garden. Today we're at the Oertli Family Hardy Plant Nursery, and it's about 1.5 miles south of the main campus of the Missouri Botanical Garden. And today we're going to take a tour of all the facilities and the functions behind the whole site. So let's go take a look. First stop on our tour is the greenhouses. It's a 13,000 square foot greenhouse complex that was part of phase 1 of the project. As I mentioned, we're about 1.5 miles south of the garden. We needed a nursery to support the living collections, and the current site on the main campus does not have enough space or square footage to produce material for the garden grounds. It's 79 acres, and then all of our other research and collaboration. So the idea of a hardy plant nursery was born shortly after 2011-2012. The greenhouses were the first phase of the whole project. Once we had the greenhouses constructed, we were able to then begin producing material here for the garden grounds. So phase 1 included the greenhouses, which is a technologically advanced greenhouse that's energy efficient and spacious for producing material. It's flexible. We have propagation space, we have production space, and this is the first step of plant production on a hardy plant site. So looking through the greenhouses, you'll see that we have a wide array of plants. And the purpose of these plants are to support the living collection, what's currently on site, but then also develop the living collection. The remaining site is then a focus that we're now on with phase 2, where it's outdoor production and then a head house, which we'll see shortly. Still here in the greenhouses, you'll notice on today's shoot, it's a very sunny day. The greenhouses are automated with many technological advances, including automatic shade, automatic temperature control, humidity control, and even irrigation. So now on a sunny day, the shade has been pulled, which allows the plants to grow cooler and gives us the flexibility to grow plant material from many different regions around the world. In addition, we can continue to track the plant material environment, how the weather is doing outside and how it affects what's in the greenhouses, which then plays into, do we shade the greenhouses, do we irrigate more? And with our Argus controls, we're able to manage the crops and the environmental controls to grow a hardy plant crop. Now in here in the greenhouses, the plant material varies. Right now we've become a hub and a main production site for the Jack C. Taylor Visitor Center landscapes. So behind me and around me and surrounding me is all plant material that we're producing for the Jack C. Taylor Visitor Center. There's over 60,000 plants in this greenhouse alone right now. And that's exponentially going to grow over the coming years. So the site is a total of 6.5 acres, 6.3 to be exact. And with that space and with the greenhouse space, we could start step-by-step production. All the way from a seedling or a cutting, all the way up to a very mature tree, to develop the living collection and add new species of threat and concern, some plants that are rare, and will be a great opportunity to share with the public and interpret the meaning and the mission of the garden. The next stop in the main greenhouses, of 1 of 4, is the propagation house. We use this greenhouse for seed production. In my hands right now are seedlings that we have collected or been involved with in exchange from another botanical garden. When I say collected, we've collected in the field. Our horticulture team and other departments of the Missouri Botanical Garden collaborate on targeting material, plant material, to add to the collection. And it will come here to the Missouri Botanical Garden and then on its way to the Hardy Plant Nursery, where we will produce said material to add to the collections. So this greenhouse is technologically advanced with supplemental light, LED grow lights, and then also heat benches that's going to warm up the soil to provide proper germination. Also included is automatic irrigation. That's going to keep the right moisture for the soil and the media that we use for propagating plant material. On the flip side of this greenhouse, we have another opportunity for cuttings. So we take vegetative cuttings, clonal cuttings from the parent plant that we can root and then move on to the production house to then go outside to grow on as a mature plant. So we'll take cuttings from the main site, or we'll exchange with other botanical gardens, or we'll go out in the field and collect material locally, regionally, or even internationally. The next stop of our tour at the Hardy Plant Nursery is the outside. Surrounding me are plants that are currently under our shade structure. We have 10,000 square feet of shade for our shade-loving plants that we have produced here on site. Now these plants have already went through the process of seed collecting or exchange or vegetative cuttings, and now are at the state of being ready to be planted on the main site or shared with some of our affiliates or other botanical institutions. There's currently plant material for all areas of the garden, from Kemper Center to the Japanese garden, even to the Jack C. Taylor Visitor Center. Behind me are 4 new hoop houses that we can use on site for overwintering plant material during the cold, harsh months in St. Louis. During the summer months, we'll be able to use this space for more and additional production of smaller, immature seedlings, transplants, and herbaceous perennials. These greenhouses are currently not operational, but will be in the coming months that we will get to use in 2021, and we are very much looking forward to expanding our operations. The remainder of the site will then lead into tree lines, where we can grow mature specimens and larger shrubs that can make a great impact and an instant impact for our aesthetics and our landscape value on the main site. Here we are in the current phase of our construction process at the Hardy Plant Nursery. This is now known as the head house. The head house will be the central space for our production. It is basically where we start the whole process of producing plant material on site. This facility, this building, is 20,000 square feet, and it will house all of our equipment, our propagation benches, our transplanting benches. There will also be a walk-in cooler and freezer that we can use and implement towards cold hardy stratification for the orthodox seeds of hardy plants. This space will be used also for our reverse osmosis and fertilizer systems, to where we can control what water we are putting on our plants. We can control the fertilizer, we can control the purity of the water, the cleanliness, and then that gives us many opportunities and flexibility for hard to propagate and hard to grow plants here in St. Louis. The large space surrounding me of the head house gives us many opportunities for our work efficiency and effectiveness here on the site. We have the ability to mix our own soil within this building. We have the ability to store materials out of the inclement weather. So this site and this building serves multiple functions for our total operations on the Hardy Plant Nursery production scale. In addition to producing plant material, we also have to be conscious of the environment in our sustainable efforts. We will also have a pot washing station in this building that is going to allow us to reuse and conserve our plastic that we use for production on site. Having the ability to clean and sterilize our equipment, and most importantly our pots, gives us a head start towards producing successful plants here at the Hardy Plant Nursery. Now we're stopping by the north side of the head house, or what will be known as the lab space and the office space for the staff on site. To my right is a future seed bank. The seed bank is currently at Gray Summit, the Shaw Nature Reserve. The plans are to relocate the seed bank to the main site here, which will give us more capacity to store seeds long term. Currently we're at 53 million seeds in our seed bank at Shaw Nature Reserve, but with the addition of this space and the technology and the freezing capacity, we can increase that number by hundreds of millions. This includes our field collecting, which then also collaborates with many departments here at the garden. CCSD, or Center of Conservation for Sustainable Development. They'll make an appearance here with helping in the lab. And the lab to my left will be our micropropagation lab. We once had a micropropagation lab here at the garden, and the whole purpose is to propagate plant material that is very difficult to produce through general techniques. So creating a sterile environment gives us more of an advantage to produce material that is difficult to add to the collection. Having the seed bank and the micropropagation lab on the main site allows us many tools to collaborate and add to the collection and preserve the collection. Now you'll see over my shoulders that the 2 concrete rooms are tornado proof. And this is where the collections will be housed when they're not being worked on in the lab or micropropagation lab. The seed bank will house 2 freezers that will be -20 degrees Celsius, and that provides a long-term storage for the seed material. The micropropagation lab will have 2 temperate and cold growing environments to grow tissue culture in the vessels, also with supplemental lighting to provide for orthodox growing and tricking the seeds to go dormant and then break dormancy. As you can see, surrounding me is an unfinished space, and as I've shared information of the micropropagation lab and the seed bank, you can see that we are seeking support to develop these areas. These are critical components to the Hardy Plant Nursery and the garden's mission towards our conservation efforts. Thank you for joining us on the tour of the Oertli Family Hardy Plant Nursery. As you can see, many actions are taking place towards the progress and construction. I hope you've enjoyed the insight on this current phase of construction and production. If you wish to follow more on the progress of the whole site and project, please visit the garden's website or follow us on social media. Until then, thank you very much.